Hi everyone, I am Malavika and I am from Kerala. I just completed my masters in literature and I have been working in the field of gender and sexuality studies with a sexuality in focus for the past 2 years. And I'm so glad that we are finally having this much needed conversation and discourses about our sexuality, especially from an Asian perspective. And I'm so honored to be a part of this conversation that we are having today. My paper for today, as you can see, is titled Normalizing Non Sexual Romance, a reading of mainstream films through the lens of homoromanticism and panromanticism. To begin with my presentation, I would like to give a very brief introduction about what asexuality is. And just before giving a very basic definition about what asexuality actually is, I would like to actually bring into attention a very particular term which was coined by the critique Ella Brisbailo, who has contributed a lot into this area of asexuality studies. So this term was sexual society. Sexual society was coined to explain the universal role that sexuality plays in society. And she says that sexual society for asexuals is analogous to what patriarchal society is to feminists. Sexual society kind of normalizes the idea of compulsory sexuality and heteronormativity, whereas asexuality challenges both these ideas. Unlike the growth of other sexual orientations from LGBTQIA2 plus spectrums, the growth of a sexual orientation has been mostly digital. And if you take the past 10 years, it has been booming. And in particular, there is this one digital site, that is known to almost every asexual out there, that is AVEN, that is Asexual Visibility and Education Network, and it has played a very crucial role in the growth of the asexual community. And this was founded by David J. in the year 2001. And here you can see a very basic definition of a sexual community, which is put forth by the AVEN. That is, an asexual is someone who does not experience sexual attraction. And here you can see how it distinguishes between celibacy and asexuality. Celibacy is something that you get to choose, whereas asexuality is an intrinsic part of who we are. AVEN also introduces the concept of the split attraction model, which divides sexual attraction from romantic attraction, as you can see here, and to articulate one's romantic or sexual attraction better. So here you can see how it can be further divided into heteroromantic, homoromantic, bi, pan, aromantic. And of course you have categories like demisexuality and gray sexuality, which these are gray areas that people choose to enter. So all of these categorizations are based on the idea of split attraction model. What I'm going to say next is might mitigate one of the most well-known misconceptions regarding asexuals, and how a sex-favorable person can be an asexual. So what we have to understand is that one's sexual behavior does not influence one's sexual orientation. So asexuality means that you are there is a lack of sexual attraction. It does not mean that there is a lack of sexual behavior too. So what does it mean? It means that you can choose to be a sex favorable person, you can choose to have sex, but at the same time you can identify yourself with being an asexual. So this is the most important point that people tend to miss, and this leads to all the misconceptions. So the idea that you can be an asexual and at the same time you can choose to have sex is very important, that your sexual behavior does not determine your sexual orientation. I came across this post 2 days before, and I thought, well, this was very important to bring under discussion. How sexual attraction, libido, and sex favorability and sex positivity are all different from each other, and we need to understand the differences between all four of them. So yeah, this was something that I thought it would be worthwhile to share in this presentation. Coming to the main topic, that the movies that I have chosen for the study are Frances Ha, which was directed by Noah Baumbach, and it was released in the year 2012, and The Half of It, which was directed by Alice Wu and was released in the year 2020. And this paper adopts the method of a sexual reading practice to analyze both these movies, and this particular method of a sexual reading practice has been adopted by critics who have been, or academics who have been working this area. And what this particular method does is that it identifies particular moments of asexuality in literature, film, television, performance, and other types of media and cultural production, so that asexuality can be understood as, something outside of its stable or non-changing parameters of inheritance, non-choice, self-identification, heteronormativity, etc. And these asexual resonances actually help us to search for a sexuality in unexpected places. Starting with the movie The Half of It, and the director of the movie, Alice Wu, has claimed that this movie is mostly autobiographical, and she puts forth this very important question, what happens if you meet your soulmate and only you have no desire to have sex with them at all. So this movie revolves around three teenagers. The first one is Ellie Chu. She is a very smart a girl who lives in the small town called Squamish, and you have another character called Paul Munksy and Asta Flores, and through the movie you can see how these people bond with each other, and how they develop a very intimate platonic friendship with each other. As the movie progresses further, we can see the main characters grappling with their emotions, and how they navigate an unknown terrain of relationship and intimacy, and how they finally, transcend the set norms of a heteronormative romantic culture. And what interested me the most is the fact that usually in American sitcoms or rom-coms, the needy character, usually they will be Asian in ethnicity. So these characters are, they does not exhibit any kind of sexual desire. They are just there to fill the gap. But even though we have an Asian character here, it is not stereotyped. There is a beautiful representation of homoromantic asexual representation in the movie. Most people might read it as, a lesbian coming out of the closet, but I think that is just the compulsory sexuality mentality that is ingrained in our brains that, push us to read the film in such a manner. But for me, The Half of It was a beautiful portrayal of a homoromantic asexual relationship. We could see the growth of the main characters, how the very timid Ellie Chu, who's the nerdy Asian in the movie, she is breaking her shell, and she finally have the courage to profess her love to Asta Flores, and she does not have the fear of being turned down, and it is not tainted with sexual lens. It is so beautifully portrayed that you cannot help but fall in love with these characters. And for me, The Half of It was a very perfect example of homoromantic asexual relationship. And due to the constraints of time, I'm not going into specifics as we have one more movie to discuss. So next, I'd like to go to my next movie for discussion today, that is Frances Ha, directed by Noah Baumbach. So my next movie for discussion is Frances Ha, which was released in the year 2012 and was directed by Noah Baumbach. And it talks about the story of 27-year-old Frances Halliday and her bond with her best friend Sophie and Benji. The critic Eloa Prisbailo has, talked about this movie in her work as Sexual Erotics, and she talks about the character of Frances, how she sees the figure of Frances as a figure of excess, and throughout the movie, there is no strictly sexual, but there are rather suggestive, what she calls as of asexual erotics, where there is an alternate ways of intimacy, where they navigate through alternate ways of relationship, and even how erotics can take a different form altogether when it is translated into the language of a sexuality. There is this one particular scene that is, it forms the crux of what the movie stands for, or what I would like to believe as, it brings out the essence of a pan-romantic asexual relationship. So this is the scene where Frances is contemplating about love, and she is articulating the same to her friend, and see how beautifully it is portrayed. And this of course brings in a new alternate language altogether to the idea of intimacy and relationships, and she's talking about what she wants from a relationship without bringing sexual connotations. So it is from this scene that we realize that what Frances craves for in a relationship are for moments, and these moments need not necessarily depend upon the gender of the person or the gender of the person that she is with. She craves for those moments in a relationship, and she likes to sort of save it or preserve it, and the gender of the person or the gender of the person that she is with does not matter to her. So rather than seeing it as a biromantic perspective, Frances occurred to me as someone who was a pansexual person or a panromantic asexual person. There is this final scene in the movie where Sophie and Frances shares a glance, and the critic Ella has talked about this final glance or gaze in her work as sexual erotics, and she says that this gaze, it challenges the theories of gaze of separation, but she is also saying that this gaze is essentially, it is sexually erotic, and this is defying all the heteronormative roots set for them. And we can see Frances as someone, the asexual spinster self of Frances as an anomaly in the compulsory sexualized amatonormative society. She is trying to find her way in this world, and she is trying to find her way with being, with different people, and she does not have any regrets about it. But what she craves for is not a sexual relationship. What she craves for is an asexual intimacy, a platonic relationship that she wants to nurture. So this is what Frances Ha is all about, and I think this movie is a perfect example for a pan-romantic asexual relationship. So we are coming to the conclusion of this presentation, and I couldn't put forth most of the ideas that I had written in the paper due to the time constraints, but I think I could do some justice to the paper under 11 minutes. But yeah, coming to the conclusion, I would also like to throw some light into the major challenges that asexuals have to face in today's society. And the major challenges are, of course, invalidation. Everyone has an opinion on an asexual person's sexual life, and people does not care if they are being rude, or they do not care if they are being evasive. Everyone has to have a take on every asexual sexual life, I believe. And of course the invisibility, and I cannot tell you how relieved I am to see that we are finally having these much needed conversations about sexuality, and it is not confined into a very heteronormative white male sort of stereotype box. We are finally breaking out of all these boxes. We are having people of different colors, people from different gender orientations coming forward, claiming their space space, fighting for their rights. And it is just so beautiful seeing all these people coming together. So this is all for my presentation, and I hope I could bring out, a very brief idea of about what asexuality is, and the analysis about the homoromantic and panromantic analysis of both these movies. And thank you so much for your patient listening. Thank you one and all.